EU and Gambia Chamber of Commerce signed a project to support the culture and art industry. Shortage of hospital beds hits part of Nigeria as number of COVID-19 cases increased. Health experts in Egypt are busy in the search for COVID-19 vaccine. This and more coming on The World Today. Hello, this is Africa TV. You're watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. The European Union and the Gambia Chamber of Commerce have on Tuesday signed a project to promote investment in culture, arts and sports. The EU ambassador to the Gambia, Attila Lajo, said that the number of jobs lost due to the coronavirus crisis is significant, especially in the tourism sector.
To a large extent depend on the situation, evolving situation in the Gambia and in Europe. Despite these uncertainties, we believe in the European Union that it is our responsibility to already think about the economic recovery of the country, whereby the place of the private sector will be crucial.
The $28 million seed project also aimed at supporting the production of innovative handcrafts and new regulations for the targeted industries. And with that development between the GCCI and the European Union, next we head to Senegal, because Senegal has announced the reopening of places of worship and markets as part of moves to ease the current lockdown measures due to the coronavirus. In his address to the nation on Monday evening, President Macky Sall said that examination classes will also resume schools only 2 times a week, while the rest will have to continue online learning rather. For more details of that, we go with this report.
Senegal has announced the reopening of places of worship and markets as part of move to ease the current lockdown measures due to the coronavirus. In his address to the nation on Monday evening, President Macky Sall said he is acting in consultation with multidisciplinary team to eminent national experts, that Senegal will continue to apply the measures laid down for the COVID-19 until the month of September. In the new phase in easing the measures, the Senegalese leader hoped that citizens will learn to live in the presence of the virus by adopting their individual and collective responsibilities to evolution of the pandemic.
From Tuesday, 12 May 2020, the curfew hours will be from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. instead of 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. The office hours are changed from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Markets and other businesses that were subject to specific opening days will be open 6 days and will remain closed on a day dedicated to cleaning. This day will be determined by the competent authority according to local contingencies. The weekly markets, commonly called lumos, will be reopened, but within the limits of each department. The places of worship will also be reopened. The Minister of Interior, in relation to the Minister of Health and Social Action, will initiate the necessary consultations for this purpose and spiritual guides and religious associations to agree on terms and conditions.
2 hours has been cut from the curfew imposed in March to now begin from 9 p.m. and ends 5 a.m., while the working hours are confined between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. daily. With regard to the university, he said the Higher Education Ministry will continue to consult the various academic authorities to organize distant learning for students across the country, but those in examination classes will have to resume twice a week.
As for the school, lessons will resume on June 2nd for the exam classes, that is to say for the CM2, third and terminal classes, or 551,000 students from the public and private sectors out of the 3,500,000. The school year and exam calendar will be adopted accordingly. Pupils from other classes will continue to take lessons from the Learning at Home device available on its television, radio, and digital platforms.
With the new measures, the government pledged to take special care to ensure attendance at places of worship, schools, and other public spaces, including restaurants. Senegal had recorded more than 1,000 cases of coronavirus, with 19 deaths according to the official figures. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Absegei.
President Macky Sall eases COVID-19 in Senegal. And from that, we come back home because the Gambia has registered another case of COVID-19 for a third consecutive time, as per daily updates by the Minister of Health. This brings the number of active cases in the country to 23.
One new cases ever confirmed in the country to 23. The newly confirmed case has been in quarantine of having a recent travel history to Senegal. He tested negative for COVID-19 at the beginning of his quarantine stay, which was on the 2nd of May 2020. A repeat test at the end of the quarantine period returned positive on the 11th of May 2020. Out of the 79 laboratory test results received, 71 are results of samples taken from new people, and 8 are repeat test results. Results of all 71 people tested for the first time returned negative for COVID-19. Of the repeat test results, while 7 samples tested negative, 1 tested positive for COVID-19. While 6 persons were newly taken into quarantine, 11 people were discharged after testing negative for COVID-19 upon completion of the mandatory quarantine period. 6 high-risk contacts were traced and 20 low-risk contacts completed follow-up. The country currently has 84 persons under quarantine, 12 active cases, and 3 probable cases.
That is Dr. Mustafa Bitey speaking there as the Gambia registered another case of COVID-19, bringing it to a total of 23 so far. Now to Nigeria. As the number of coronavirus cases continue to rise in the country, the health sector is confronted with the lack of enough hospital beds to accommodate COVID-19 patients. Scientists are busy on clinical trials to help mitigate the pressure on the health centers, as hundreds of thousands cases are projected by July. Let's have more details of that in this report.
It's a situation many had feared could happen as the COVID-19 infection rate keeps going up in Nigeria. Now, the head of the country's Center for Disease Control says states are fast running out of bed spaces at their various treatment facilities. The NCDC puts the total number of bed spaces across the country at about 3,000, with Lagos, the epicenter of COVID-19 in Nigeria, accounting for the bulk of that number. But the challenge is that the pace of the infection rate in the city is now mounting serious pressure on the healthcare infrastructure available.
So our model suggests that by July, we're going to see somewhere between 90 to 120,000 positive cases. However, our testing algorithm only tests for people who have developed symptoms.
Desperate to address the situation and increase the discharge rate of patients in the city, health authorities now say they would begin a clinical trial of hydroxychloroquine.
We've just received the shipment of the first batch of chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, with its placebo counterpart. It is the most powerful clinical trial that you can do, and we have developed several arms of these clinical trials. We're going to be looking at other drugs that are currently trending in the research arena.
The Lagos state government has also said it would soon begin what it calls community management of COVID-19, with primary healthcare centers co-opted into the treatment of patients.
Over the past 6 to 8 weeks, we have been building the capacity of our medical staff to handle and treat patients with COVID. Not only the people in the isolation centers, but people in all our health facilities. And each one of them now has what they call a COVID response team.
The government recently eased the lockdown on the city and made the wearing of face masks in public mandatory. It also asked people to practice physical distancing. But compliance has been a major issue. The government now says it would begin cracking down hard on defaulters.
With that report there, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Baadiŋol men be Gambia aniŋ Gambia e bantala mbeŋa ñillon ko TRRC bala dokuwo sal labaŋo le kono andi la dokuwo be looriŋ meŋ kaŋ waleŋ hadamadiŋol meŋ na ñanto tiñaata ñiŋ banko kaŋ jaŋ kabiriŋ July karo 1994 saŋo la kana January karo 2017 saŋo la woto momo ye a loŋ ko i mantorata ñiŋ waato kono andi maŋ futa TRRC folo pour que la kumakaŋo di nsaafo ma ye statement o ye feere ke ye futa TRRC ye la kumakaŋo di a tariya ñaama yo pour kana TRRC ye feŋo feŋ kenaŋ paasoo ti kana futa je walla ye feŋo feŋ dépense pour ka futa TRRC ke la kumakaŋo di a be seyindilema le bari mbe ñiŋ fanaŋ koyindi la ko pour ka statement o fanaŋ di a maŋ ke ko moo ye la kumakaŋo di TRRC i be loo la televisionoo ñaato le moo be ye juube wo tuti ite le bulu ni lefta ka testify moo be ye lamoyi moo be ye je i se wo kenoo le bari ni maŋ lafi wo fanaŋ na ise kumakaŋo diinoo le a ye tara moolu ke kaŋo moyi bari ite ñaadaa je la niŋ du i maŋ lafi wo fanaŋ na ise siinoo i niŋ commissional damma ali ye kacca a ye tara moo te bole kalama andu niŋ me lafita ka ñiŋ ke ise katoo ke ye ñiŋ téléphone nombal kumandi pour ka TRRC soto no 770-4988 770-4988 wala 741-5937 741-5937 ala baraka mo be sa dake TRRC dokot.
Welcome back. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the stories. Fire incident in Brikama Market has turned the youth in the area miles back from their daily businesses. The midnight fire ate up dozens of stores before the arrival of the local fire service. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Part of the Brikama market has burned down following a fire incident near the Brikama Health Center on Monday night. The area, mainly occupied by the youth, was a temporary structure housing a lot of valuable goods and services. The fire incident, being the second of its kind in less than 12 months, is coming at a very hard time, the coronavirus time.
I mean, workers here had already gone home. You know, it is the holy month of Ramadan. people closed as early as the evening, and the fire was reported around that time, so it consumed a lot of stalls here. As you can see on the background, we are on the rubbles here. A lot of damage has been caused, and locals here woke up to the news, this sad news, and they came to observe, to make their own assessment and show solidarity, a show of solidarity around here.
These young people are now compelled to start all over again, or wait until such a time they are able to fully recover.
So at least, according to unconfirmed reports we are getting this morning, at least about 30 people are affected, and these are mainly youth who use these places, and you can see they are temporal stalls to make for their livings, people who felt that they have to make it here in the Gambia. So a lot of them, but we also try to engage the police we found on the ground to see how far the assessment is being made, but official figures are not yet out. But all we know, looking at the background and the people standing by my side here, are all directly or indirectly involved in this casualty here.
National Assembly member for Brikama North rushed to witness the incident, but as of Tuesday morning, it was too early to determine the magnitude of the damage.
I was also, like others, called and been informed that there is fire outbreak at the market. There I rose. I found the fire service and rescue doing their normal services, and then until eventually the fire was put down. Of course, from the look of things, you could see that there are a lot of damages, and it happened. Most of the victims are young people who are struggling with their businesses. At this juncture, one could not make an estimate of the cause of the damage, as the matter is under the investigation.
Secretary General of the Brikama Market Vendors Association, Bolong Jabang, decried of the frequent cases of fire incident in Brikama, noting on the need for permanent structures.
Brikama market is a problem of fire. Every year, 1 or 2 years, the market will have have fire. Last year, 3 shops were born. Those were tailors, and again this year again, the second-hand clothes were affected. So what I want to say that is, I want to concur with the Honorable National Assembly member of Brikama North, who has said that this temporary canteen should be turned into a permanent one, because all these fire outbreaks, normally occurred at the temporary canteens, but most of the permanent ones that are built, in structures are not affected yet.
As the Brikama market awaits some restoration plan, the Basse market in the Upper River region is still yet to fully recover after its incident in February this year. Reporting for iAfrica News, this is Ibrahim Ba.
And from the report there by Ibrahim Abba on the fire outbreak in Brikama, next we head to South Africa, because a South African company has joined the fray in the fight against the COVID-19 global pandemic by producing isolation pods as treatment for the virus. The initial lockdown has lowered number of infections, but health authorities are still worried with the situation as the number of local transmission is increasing. Management of the pods producing company say the materials are cost-effective and it can help in the efforts to contain the coronavirus deadly disease. Let's have more details of that in this report.
South Africa has slowed the COVID-19 infection rate, partly thanks to a lockdown the government imposed early on. But authorities fear the worst is to come as some restrictions are eased and local transmissions increase. Warren Bosman's company, Oracle 3D, was already producing smoking and baby pods before the outbreak.
So about 1.5 years ago, my daughter was born premature and contracted RSV, and we spent about 3 months in an isolation ward. And before this coronavirus came along, we were already practicing all the sanitizing methods and masks, and then obviously doing all the pods and that. It was kind of like a simple adjustment of just putting the two together and coming up with a solution that can contain the virus effectively.
Confirmed COVID-19 cases are rising daily and the demand for hospital beds is growing. Specialized negative pressure rooms are needed to treat acute cases.
And these pods come at a negative pressure. So I'll just show you a little test. So if you pull the door open, you can actually see that it sucks closed. When you walk inside, the airflow in these units is very critical. So what you find is the air sucks from the front of the pod through to the back past the patient. And that is very critical so that doctors and nurses don't get affected or infected by the COVID-19 virus.
These self-isolation pods could potentially be a game changer when treating COVID-19 patients in South Africa, and they are in line with the World Health Organization specifications.
We had to value engineer the design to come up with a solution that can be made very cost effectively, that can flat pack and takes less than 45 minutes to assemble on site. There's a multitude of facilities that these can be fitted to. Any kind of expo center, even a marquee that's set up on a field. For example, for rural areas, you can fit easily 50 or 60 of these units inside with nurse stations, with a welcome counter, with the testing pods so that patients can be tested.
The company has been given the go-ahead to produce the first 300 pods. It's had interest from the United States, United Kingdom and Saudi Arabia, and may soon start exporting its latest product.
And from the report there, finally, we head to Egypt because Egypt's major university health experts are conducting clinical trials to find a vaccine for the COVID-19. Since last month, 5 research groups from the university have been looking for a way out from the global pandemic. Analysts say the move is aimed at consolidating the global efforts to find a lasting solution to the disease. Here is more details of that.
Since March 30th, Egypt has begun clinical trials to test existing medicines to treat COVID-19. By the first week of April, Cairo University, the biggest in the country, formed 5 research teams to join the global race for a vaccine. In mid-April, the university has also announced reaching a treatment protocol which uses 2 antiviral drugs. One interferes with the viral replication and the other strengthens immunity.
The most important development in Egypt under the pandemic is the greater move towards scientific research. That wasn't evident in the past few years. Egypt has joint trials and research efforts with many international partners, including the World Health Organization, hoping to join the efforts to find a cure.
A common approach to almost all COVID-19 patients in Egypt is nutrition, through which patients follow a healthy diet that aims to boost their immunity.
In quarantine hospitals, there is a strict nutrition program. The main purpose is to cure patients in the least possible time. If they can decrease the treatment period by 4 days, they'll free space for future patients. Due to the limited number of hospital beds available. If we exceed 13,000 cases, there will be crisis because we don't have enough space to treat them.
Egypt is also testing the effectiveness of medicines like Japan's Avigan and Remdesivir, which is used for critical cases. The country is also using plasma transfusion from recovered to sick patients. As an active member of the AU and the Africa CDC, Egypt is committed to cooperate, share capabilities and knowledge in the fight against COVID-19. It has one of the strongest healthcare systems in the continent, and that puts more regional responsibilities on it under the pandemic.
The world, of course, is focused on to find a vaccine finally for the COVID-19 global pandemic. And from that report there in Cairo, Egypt, we finally bring this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, you can also log on our website on africa.tv. Many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching and bye for now.